then 5 to 6 years when she's out as a commitment.
Yeah. Cool. That's awesome. How are you? Good. You have an hour?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
on to the
live
next.
tonight, so.
Oh, fun. How's that going?
Great, yeah.
Good. Lori Clay?
Hi
Clay,
there.
Laurie
Hi.
Rausch?
Hello.
Also have kids the same age?
Oh, and here comes Nick. All right.
No kids the same age. Hello, sir.
Welcome.
On.
We gonna make him sit behind his name tag or not?
Oh, that might
I'll sit over,
be.
I can sit over here.
No, sit here. in
You
the
have the
middle.
gravel.
You're
He's the liaison today.
I'm the
Here.
liaison.
But you're
Look.
also,
Not just
That's
playing.
right, yeah.
All
Straight from
right.
the court.
you're also the closest thing we have to a chair.
I got you.
There we go. It's all less confusing for people.
And I do believe Sheryl is on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. She's man, just on fresh.
Did you hear from Linda?
Jealous.
Did not hear anything from Linda.
Yeah,
That's,
me either. That's odd.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, she. Oh, is that her? Good white suit. There she is.
Wow, everyone's in attendance. That's good. We have a Newberg youth football meeting tonight too. So.
Oh, nice. Should I be proud over there?
I don't know. I hope not.
You hope not.
Huh? They're
You
supposed
hope.
to be at odd moves.
Oh.
Hey, Lance.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Had dinner. I had meeting followed by, I saw Susie for 5 minutes.
Nice. How are you, Laurie?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah, I haven't seen
I
her.
think my
She's got
neighbor is
surgery.
celebrating her 93rd birthday right
Nice.
Oh. All right.
Maybe we can make this quick and you can hit the last of it.
I got a 5 a.m. This is not mine.
Hey, Linda.
Hey!
How are
Hey.
you?
Hey.
Hi.
How are you doing though?
And then they didn't have my numbers.
Huh?
You know somebody that coaches on nutrition?
Welcome.
Newberg football meeting?
No.
I think they're at odd moves.
Odd nose,
Does that sound right?
It was supposed to be right there.
I know.
And then I think the app says Abby.
Let me ask Nicole for sure. You guys go ahead and start.
You allergic to peanuts or pretzels?
No, thank you for asking. Oh, sweet.
You need any?
Appreciate it. Well, I guess we will go ahead and call the meeting to order. Does someone on the committee want to do that and kind of take the lead on the agenda? As I think that's probably the most appropriate way to do it.
If I do it, I'm not the chair. I will do it for this meeting
You guys
only.
do have to establish a chair,
Yes, that will
but
be.
just calling the meeting to order does
Yeah.
not necessarily make you the chair.
Okay.
I'll
Because you're
agree
absent.
with it.
Yeah. Let's call the meeting to order of the Pickleball Advisory Committee.
I second it.
Roll call is Lance Trantham, Laurie Rausch, Laurie Peterson, Bob Oleson, Cal, and Nick Konen.
And Sheryl is also on Zoom, so she is here.
If I'm doing this, somebody should also take notes. Are you, who's taking notes?
I'll take notes. I'll take notes.
Can you do that as a staff? Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, have you all had a chance to review the minutes from 6/30/2025? You guys can say yes.
Yes,
Yes. Does somebody have a motion to approve the minutes?
I second it.
Okay. I need a second. You are, oh,
I
yeah.
nominate that we approve the minutes.
I second.
Okay, great. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, motion carries. Okay, public comment period.
Richard, do we have anyone online that appears to be not a member of the committee that looks like they might want to make a public comment? It looks like a no.
Okay. Seeing that we have no public in attendance, we will move on. This is the exciting news, the Jakewith Park update. And I have to tell you, I've been there. I was there last week, and I was super impressed. I feel like I know what it's going to look like now, and it's nice to see that big pond area. I call it the pond. I know there's a technical, what's the technical word for that thing that collects the water?
This is a stormwater basin?
Oh, okay, perfect. But I thought they have gotten a lot done, and it was fun to see all the old stuff come out. So I've been there. I've been scoping it out.
Well, by way of a few other things, so what they were able to do is finish a lot of the excavation associated with those items and get the first cap of asphalt poured associated with the new court areas.
Oh,
And so that first cap locks in the grading and compression work that's been done. So that's part of what's kind of exciting, that they can do that. Now, one of the things they may not be able to do as we go in winter is asphalt batch plants it has to be a certain ambient temperature for them to run and do asphalt. So we're not sure if we're gonna get any more days like that. But that cap means that when we clear the performance and roll tests associated with making sure we have a nice solid base, that locked it in and protects it through the winter. And we'll probably have some other tactics to kind of make sure we don't funnel excess water into the holes that we've created, but it should still be relatively protected because that cap's on there. So that's a good thing. The other part is a lot of these performance materials, even if we could get those other asphalt layers on, if we warmed up, those other layers that go on top often have epoxy and other chemicals in them that are performance related. So that also needs a certain temperature. So we might be dealing with certain other activities around the periphery through winter. So the fences, the stormwater stuff, those sorts of things. But at some point, we'll probably run out of things to do before we get to spring. We'll end up going on pause. But the contractor's gonna be encouraged to get as much done as they can, and they'll just play wait and see while the facility's protected. So that's kind of where we're at.
So did I hear you right that they have the asphalt in place over both courts, the tennis and the pickleball courts, or just one?
I think it should be both, but honestly, I haven't gone, actually, because each time I've gone over there, I try and go over the easy access area, and there are trucks in the way.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to go and look at it since the asphalt got poured. I would be shocked if it's not both, because I don't know why you would pour one and not the other.
Right, and it's not that big of a space.
Has anyone else here in the room gone over and looked at it?
I've just.
Does it appear that both sides are poured?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it looks like,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
I think I looked on Friday, and everything had one layer of pavement down.
That's my understanding, it's just one layer right now. So, if they get a window where it's dry and up temperature, we can try and do some more, but I don't know how that's gonna work, it just has to be.
You know what that temperature is?
Or is it how many days it has to be dry?
I think it's a little of everything. But it really depends on when the asphalt batch plant becomes available. And it's not that high of a temperature, but at the same time, our nighttime lows get low enough that I don't know if there's a window of duration or if it's also without moisture and what those are. I just don't have an answer to that.
Be patient for the good stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
But what we also want to do is, Casey in particular has been speaking with those on-site contractors and sheepdogging them around a little bit, making sure they're getting the stuff done that they can get done, and felt really pleased that we were able to get where we are. There's a little more detail from Casey, as well as some things about the spec and the layers in the board packet from this past month. And so if you go in there for the capital projects update portion, which if people want, they're welcome to shoot an email to Julie or myself, and we can send over that snippet and tell you, or send over that link and tell you what page it's on.
I think I talked to Richard prior to coming today, and I asked him to find that. Richard, did you find it? Hey, Richard? Shoot, okay. What the heck?
I wouldn't put too much
Oh, there it is, right?
emphasis on that. I mean, that's something that's available for everybody.
Yeah.
I do have,
Oh, yeah,
by the
here.
way, I'm getting a message from Richard here. So we just put approval of the 6:30 minutes, but it also looks like, and I haven't looked at what those minutes contain that you guys approved, but it looks like, did we hold a meeting in June? Or was there no quorum?
I don't think there was a quorum.
We may not have had a quorum.
Okay.
I thought we discussed that we had enough, but.
I thought that's when
Were
we.
you here?
I thought we had one and we decided that there wasn't a lot to talk about, so we pushed it out. Nick, what do you think?
Well, I know that minutes were written for 6:30 because to make up this, I went and found the last minutes that I had recorded.
Okay.
So I'll double check that.
It looks like,
Because you were online, weren't you? That was the one you weren't able to come. So it was,
That was a couple days after my mom's service, so.
and Richard had sent me a screenshot from 6:30, and so it looks like it says 5/25/25 minutes did not get approved because due to no quorum.
Oh.
So it means there was probably no quorum at that last one.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's 5:25.
But that's,
Yeah.
but on 6:30 we, okay,
But roll call on that one at number 2 also says no quorum.
yeah.
So-
So I think what happened on 5:25, we did have a quorum, but then on 6:30, we did not.
And that's part of why I came today, so, that is related to item number 6, is about these no quorum issues and what we do and things like that. When there's no quorum or we don't have any actionable things on the agenda, and those sorts of things. And what we also heard from the board,
Okay, cool.
so.
Okay.
So if folks would like, I can send over a link as well as the page numbers for that capital projects update if people would like to see that in more detail. Okay?
So Clay, are you happy with the progress from where you sit as our superintendent? Are you happy with the progress on this project? Are you seeing any red flags?
I'm neither pleased nor displeased. So I could be more pleased, I could be less pleased. So I'm not angry at anyone, but I would have liked to have seen us get further along in this. So the contractors didn't mobilize as quickly as we had hoped. We also hoped a couple other things would be able to move along a little faster. That said, when we pushed on them to do things, because we said this needs to happen, and this is the way the project's designed, they managed to get it together. We just felt like we had to chase them around a little more than we were hoping to do that. So I would say, and this is kind of me speaking on behalf of Casey, I'm not as thrilled as I would like to be, but we're in a reasonably good place for getting through winter, being able to pick it back up and not having it take forever to let, the terrain and the site dry out again and go all through all that stuff. That's what we were really worried about when the first bit of rain came through, was that we would have the excavation done, now you've got all the ground exposed, and that you let the water get in, and all of a sudden, and then it gets too cold for you to pour your asphalt, all of a sudden you have your excavation done, you can't complete a roll test successfully, and you have to wait for everything to dry out, which might not be till July. So that's what we were really worried about. That would have been the worst outcome. We seem to have dodged that, so that now we do have to wait for normal spring temperatures to come back, and we can get some of those other kind of more temperature sensitive portions of construction done.
So have you had a conversation with the contractors or Casey that we are, since the project is not completed per the contract, that we will be first on their spring list?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, could you talk to Casey about that? I worry that, the project's half done, and I don't want them to say, well, we're already booked for April or May.
They do have a project schedule that has for April completion.
Okay.
We're working on that, and it doesn't appear to be that we're where we are in the queue so much as weather conditions. That's what we're
Okay,
worried about at this point.
perfect, okay. Well, I'm just glad that you're in action about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Random question regarding the tennis courts. Newberg High School uses them for tennis practice.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be, they're not gonna be finished by season
I don't think so, because we're not planning on them being available until April. Julie, do you know anything about the communication we've had with Newberg High School?
Yes, so I've talked to Mark Brown a little bit, and actually the George Fox coach as well. But I do not think they're going to be ready in time. I mean, your season is almost over at that point, right? So last year there was such a great turnout for girls, right? And so that's too bad. But
Can they use Dundee? I
Sure.
mean, it's only 2 courts, but it's at least something.
It would just be transportation to get there. How do you guys transport them by bus?
The bus.
Does Aaron? Okay.
Yeah, the high school provides it.
Okay. Well, I don't have a problem with that. Clay, do you have a problem with that? Them
So-
practicing
sorry.
at Dundee?
In our park or at a different facility?
Yeah, up at Billick. They
Is
have-
that gonna work for them? I know that there's some cracking on the court,
There is,
some
yeah.
of those sorts of things.
Better than
Would it be adequate? I mean, I
better
think
than
that
no
we would,
courts.
I think we would generally be open to it. I would suggest that can be coordinated probably with you, Julie,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll talk to the AD about it too.
Just thought I
Yeah.
could ask me today.
Yeah. Yeah. We were hoping.
Mhm.
I had a meeting with Mark Brown the other day and we were talking about that, so,
Gotcha.
yeah. That would be great if we could.
Future pickleballer,
Huh?
future pickleballers.
Yes, truly, they cross over very well.
Okay, I'll check on that.
So they're working on then, trying to manage the water then through the winter and making sure.
Yeah,
that-
so they're gonna try and get some tactics in there to deflect some of the water out to other areas that it doesn't start pooling directly into where the asphalt and those things are. But that should act like a lid and keep it more or less protected. The water typically goes straight down, it's not gonna intrude underneath it, but there's no reason to exacerbate it by having it actively collect water either. So you don't wanna urge and tempt fate.
And hopefully no freezes.
Right. So, but that was why, because that lid effect that you get on there after you've gotten it compressed and tamped down and you've got a good base on it, that really should keep it protected, but at the same time, they're gonna put some things in place to make sure they don't do that. But you should see some progress still on some of that stormwater facility that's there, because that can be done. And then also through some of the fencing activities. So.
Where, do you know where they're at with fencing and what, so at one point the city was requiring that it be lined with the.
That condition is still in place. We'll be submitting a land use application to the city, which hasn't been submitted yet. Basically, that's been with me and with Casey, and neither of us have had time. Mostly it's been with me. So we're gonna probably be giving that to the COG to work on and get it submitted. Shouldn't be that big of a thing, but it will have to go through a type 2 procedure again, which means it'll have to be publicly noticed to the neighbors. But the only thing at issue will be that one condition for modification.
But it is almost something you're open to change.
We would, yes, we would like to change it because, and the stance that we're taking is their condition was applied in a speculative manner. So, and one that didn't have a condition. They didn't actually have a performance criteria or any of those things. So they were fixing a problem that had not yet been reported as existing. And they didn't use the city's own standards to generate it. It was just kind of
Blanket.
speculative about a potential problem, so they're heading off of speculation. And to us, if you're going to do that, then we should have a speculative solution where if it becomes a problem, we can fix it. We shouldn't have to fix something that doesn't yet exist, especially when it's an existing facility. And they used some other language that seemed somewhat arbitrary in that argument that we don't think was necessary. So they talked about the amount of green space that the public was using. It's in a park. We far exceed the amount of green space requirements. We are not required to do more, and we're allowed to manage a park in a way that's that. So to use that as some sort of a justification for a noise ordinance too does not seem to have a nexus, and they're not allowed, they're required to be fair and consistent and proportional. And so they're not allowed to be arbitrary or capricious, and capricious in the manner of not being malicious, but capricious in that you're selecting one but not the others. So that's what we're gonna kind of have grievance with, and I think that we were okay with it in concept when it came down initially, because it was done in a way that you're trying to protect the neighbors. We get that. That is a fine goal, but we have not had complaints from the neighbors, other than there were some comments during the public outreach that was conducted. And so that's what they were trying to be responsive to. But in actuality, from just general operations in play, it's never been reported to neither the city nor us. Because we asked for any records they had of code compliance or other departments getting complaints about pickleball, and they weren't able to produce any, which I will presume means they don't have them.
I've never received an email about it.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
And we went out and did some noise monitoring too, so I don't know if folks noticed, but there were, I don't know, a handful of weeks going through the summer where I would go out there when we were kind of at peak play in the mornings and would monitor folks. And so I was just walking a lap and we had 4 stations in place and I would take readings at the same 4 stations over and over again. And so we may or may not use that. It's something we wanted to do so we had more information. But again, they don't have a performance standard, so it doesn't really matter what it is, other than that they do have some general regulations related to noise levels and nuisances. But they don't for like parks or those sorts of things.
When it's being pushed out a little bit, but you still have that basketball building that's going to still absorb a lot of
Mhm.
noise going in that other direction, and right directly behind is the church.
Mhm.
And they're used to it.
And, well, not only they used to, but it's a big block.
Yeah.
The houses on the other side
Yeah.
are gonna get just inundated with that noise because that building in that area is so big.
Right.
And the whole garden between.
Well, and the other aspect of that is we weren't asked to show that it wasn't creating an impact. So they have the ability to ask us for more information. That was never done. So if they had said, we think this is a problem, we need you to provide more information, perhaps we could have shown whether or not there really was a problem they were going to be fixing. And also, we didn't mind, again, the idea of putting up noise panels until we saw the potential cost. And we were like, oh, $60,000 to $70,000 is substantial.
Don't need that.
And then it started bringing up other issues like being able to see into the courts and watch play and those sorts of things. And then there's kind of the security issues of now, can someone hide in there if you've done it in the wrong way? You can always do that, but so it seemed like it came down upon us and wasn't fully necessary, so we're gonna go ahead and ask that be
I
modified. But
just
yeah.
was curious to see
Yeah.
how that was.
Yeah.
We haven't submitted it yet, and it's taking long enough that I think we're gonna have to just go ahead and ask the COG to put that together, but we don't really think that it'll take them that long to pull it together, since it should focus on just that one condition and the aspects of that were used to create the condition.
Well, that's great insight on your part. Thank you for doing that extra.
So, just a curiosity question for you, Julie. How many noise complaints do we get from the baseball, softball fields at Jakewood?
So those, it just depends. Summer nationals, we do receive many during summer nationals, but other than that, I have not gotten very many. There's one gentleman that lives near number 2, or field number 2, and occasionally I'll get a call from him, but never, not much.
Okay. That's just a curiosity question, because I love the fact that we have a good history. Pickleball has a good history of not creating problems, so that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other?
Do we want to move into item 6 or more update stuff?
Yes. Clay, please go with item number 6, which is the follow-up discussion regarding the Board of Directors' discussion on the citizen advisory committees.
So, and I'm going to turn this over to Nick in a little bit, so I'll let you figure out how you want to describe
Yeah.
it. But, so one of the things that staff did is we brought an item to the Board of Directors, because all 3 committees for us are in different places and are shaped different ways. This committee didn't have a couple of meetings. I mean, there was an August meeting cancellation due to staff and technology, but then kind of the quorum struggle in June, and then also not having a meeting in September. I don't know if that was a quorum thing or schedules or what, but we're really at a place where that phase 1 of getting the courts built is underway in construction. So there's only so much we can do other than provide ongoing updates, but committees are very labor intensive. And so between Richard being present for every single one of these, the staff liaison, in this case Julie, often having additional people like me or Casey show up at these sorts of things, and then having Kat managing minutes and getting agendas and doing those sorts of things. They're one of the more laborious things that we do as far as outreach, and they're worth it when we have good, clear homework. And this one, you guys have gotten to a place where it seemed worth asking a question, what more do we need or want from the pickleball committee? With some of the other committees, like the Trails Committee, they're actively working on things But they're really working very closely with staff, and they're starting to look less like a committee and look more like a group of volunteers. So they had a very different question on how should they go forward? What are they being asked to do? What's the right way for them to do it? And then for our other committee on,
Golf
I was
course.
blanking.
Golf
Thank
course.
you. Golf course clubhouse. We're also at a different place where they're about to start a project. They're about to start a feasibility study, but where we don't necessarily need them available monthly. We need them available when our consultant team indicates they're ready for that input, to have it at a key point in that project. And so one of the things that staff had a goal of, or a couple of things, we wanted to get clarity for each of the CACs, and make sure they still have homework. And if they have homework, great. Clarify what that is and what they need to get done, and what that needs to get to the board. Because our citizen advisory committees are only citizen advisory committees if they are advising the board. If they're just talking to staff, they're not really a CAC anymore. Because you don't need appointees, you don't need public meetings, you don't need minutes, you don't need to go through all that to just talk to staff. Volunteers can work with staff.
And that doesn't mean that we can't get together and talk.
Right.
I mean, that's, we can still gather this group together. You guys can come over, I'd be happy to meet with you. But
Yeah.
it just wouldn't be
Right, and
public
you can,
meetings.
and we can create structure, we can do lots of
Yeah.
things, you can make it open to the public, do all sorts of things. But the requirements to do that, and the restrictions on the committee members communicating with each other and being around each other are lowered. Those are significantly reduced, because you're no longer in a public meeting setting. So those are some of the things, and then the other part was, we kind of said, from a staff side, just on, we all have lives we would like to live outside of work. If those CACs are not needed anymore, they should be wound down. They should be sunset. They should be done. Should just claim victory. And that is okay. We can say mission complete. So for this one, I'll turn over to Nick here. We didn't sunset any of them, so they're all still active. But it was recommended that they meet less frequently if they don't have anything active that they're doing right now. And they get spun back up to become more active when something more relevant comes up, where we're actively looking for input. So, with that, Nick, what did you see in here?
Yeah, I think you covered everything really well there. I think so. The big thing moving forward that the committee I think needs to think about is, what goals do you guys have as a committee on what you want to be here and meet about to then advise the board of directors. And then I think those goals will, if reasonable, will help determine how often you guys meet, for how long. I think Kat said at the board meeting that everybody basically has one more year in their term in this committee. So yeah, I guess kind of what I would like to hear is some discussion on how you all see the goals of the committee moving forward.
I think, the possibility of the courts being covered at some point could be a topic that we would want to deal with, because it would be a financial, thing, and all that it takes to do that. The other things that just come to mind are like, is there rules that Park and Rec are going to set up for how play goes, how often it is, those kind of things? Or is that more, you're gonna let the Newberg Pickleball Club do that? Or who gets to say those kind of things? So just, those are the three thoughts I had regarding it. And maybe it doesn't require a committee for those other two, but maybe the covering of the courts aspect, if and when.
I
Can I
think,
Can I say something? In terms of use, what we're going to allow and what we're not going to allow, it's going to remain the same. There won't be any changes unless there's something that, that comes up. But we don't, that's a public space. So we've never had any problems with anyone other than one person that wanted the tennis courts or wanted to play tennis at one time during that tournament. But I don't think we want to, get into that. That's very, very hard to program out there.
It's micromanaging.
So it would just remain the same.
Okay.
I think one of the goals that I have is making sure that we have the budget to do some of the amenities, like Lance had talked about doing a covered pavilion. What would you call that, Lance? pergola, something outside the play area. And then benches, making sure that, you know, the water fountains have been placed. Some of those extras, just making sure that the district also will ask us questions. Hey, we don't play pickleball. If we were, can we double check the lining? Because we have 3 really great pickleball players, 2 of us that just love to have fun, right, Bob?
Right.
Yeah, so anyway, oh, and Cheryl's up there. Cheryl, do you want to say anything?
It looks like she does.
She got her hand up.
Get unmute.
Cheryl, it looks like you might need to unmute yourself.
Or- Gosh.
Did I get?
Oh, now we
there
gotcha.
you go.
Yeah, this is really weird. I'm trying to do this on my phone. You can hear me?
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay, good. I agree with Laurie that I think, as far as I'm concerned, our job won't be complete until we have the covered aspect, at least just permanently, decided. Are we going to proceed? What's it, the cost, that type of thing. I think I would like us to have some ability to have input when it comes to placing the, we know where the courts are gonna be placed, but I thought we had some good ideas to the architect. And he did some things to move the benches and move where the boxes were and move that step that has to go from the pickleball courts to the tennis courts. But other things like that may come up when we, I would like to see that. I'd also like some input in the colors, just, in terms of, some courts there isn't enough contrast and it's hard to discern if the ball is in or out. Where others have a good, you're able to tell where the lines are and where the out balls are. Yeah, so as it gets closer, obviously, winter time is not going to be a lot of work, but as it gets closer, I think I'd like to be able to have some input, and I'll leave it at that.
And I think, Cheryl, you actually voiced what I was thinking a lot better than I did. Thank you.
Okay, I know what you were thinking, so, glad I could help.
Well, one of the things I wanted to ask about tonight is whether we could have informal meetings. You partially answered that.
The short one is no. That's the short response. You can't have informal meetings. Because you're a CAC.
Yeah, if the advisory committee remains intact, then you can't have those kinds of meetings. Now, if
Only
you,
get to have public meetings.
yeah,
Can we put that on hold? Because I think at some point we may want to reactivate the committee. Could we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could put the committee
That's-
on hold and then
That's,
continue with regular informal
and
get-togethers.
this is part of what we wanted to talk about too, because
Yeah.
there's a couple of different things. Right now, you guys are doing basically the highest frequency version that we could do and keep up with.
Yeah.
Which is hard if you don't have a lot of active things going on. If you want to kind of iterate on things and think about what's the best version of this, you don't have to use this formalized version. As we get closer to a next phase, which I will call phase 2 of covering that structure, we could, if the CAC were kind of dissolved or sunset, you can stand it back up later with kind of the approval of the board. Alternatively, you can go on a more of a hiatus, which is kind of what Nick and I talked about, where the meetings are just less frequent. They could be every 3 months or 6 months, just enough that the members realize they are still members, and you show up and you have a meeting, see if there are any major updates, or if you have any things that needs to be on there. But one of the things for us is, as staff, if we don't have any real action items where we're getting input from the committee, it's not a good use of our time. And it's not a good, and it's, I will tell you that for Richard who's doing this, he sometimes has three night meetings a week that he has to admin, as well as the stuff he does during the day. And so I get very sensitive about my staff's time and how that gets used. And Julie clearly is doing work on weekends as well as during the week. And so all of those things are things that, if it's of value, I would love for us to be able to meet and have the CAC giving us good feedback. But if we don't really have much we're working on, then it's asking a lot from staff to kind of meet for funsies.
So at what point can we go, because we do have a pickleball club, and like I said before, they're all very skilled. At what point do we become, and can we become volunteers to come up alongside and make recommendations? Or there's some give and take, like,
Sure.
you know, there's fundraising opportunities that we can be doing
Yeah.
to make sure we get those amenities that we need and that kind of stuff. And just,
I will point out a couple of things. One, the fundraising is really hard when you can't talk to the other people that are doing it with you, except when you come to a public meeting. So it gets weird. And two, when you're doing it as a committee member, it starts being a little strange. The main kind of friends group we have is our foundation. So I don't really even know how that would work as a committee member if you're out kind of soliciting funds for a specific project. It might be fine, I just don't know.
So it's better as volunteers.
I think it could just be better as a
And I
volunteer.
do know that the Newberg Pickleball Club has some ideas and, goals on ways to do some fundraising and that sort of thing. But if we're all a committee, or you're a committee, we can't all meet and talk
Yeah.
about that, or you all can't come to a Newberg Pickleball Club meeting and ask to help, because that's technically a quorum, becomes a public meeting, and so you're really tied by the public meeting.
Very limited.
Laws.
It's supposed to do certain things, and it's not intended to do other things,
Yeah.
which makes it hard. The other thing I wanted to mention on that is, shoot, I think I might have just lost it. Nope, it flew away. I'm sure it'll be
I
back.
hate that, yeah. What I'd like to say.
Pause it, can we have those meetings, or is
Oh.
it, if it stays in place?
We can, so what I would call a pause would be putting it on less frequent meetings. So you could say, we're not gonna have a meeting for 6 months. You'd still be a meeting, you still can't get together and do that because the committee still exists. So that would be kind of a pause, but you still have those committee rules in place.
because we're still a committee.
Yeah. One of the other things to think about is a committee is not the only tool in the toolbox.
Okay, what's
One of
our
the
next
things that's pretty common for when you have capital projects, and I haven't seen us use it at CPRD a whole lot, is to have focus groups. You would start early, you would start kind of pre-concept. So if we get into stage 2, we've got these new courts, we know they want to be covered, how much, what style, for what objectives. And so you can start something before you've ever hired any consultants or anything, and start having that as your pickleball focus group. Then that's a group of volunteers that are getting together. Because we're a public agency, we would probably want that to be a public meeting, but we're, as a focus group for some initiative we're doing, we might call for volunteers, post those meetings on our calendar, but we're really trying to get those people that have expressed interest to be part of it. Because in theory, they're people that just have a really good time playing, or they're people that have special technical knowledge, and so they're bringing something to that table. And so there aren't typically public meeting laws about that, because they're really working directly with staff, and there may be a board member or two present, but it's not a public meeting, because they weren't appointed by the board. And their objective is not necessarily to advise the board, it's to advise the district and the district staff, and helping them figure out things like, what's the best high contrast color scheme to go with for these new courts? Where would be a reasonably convenient place to put a pergola, or some benches or some boxes for good viewing, a little extra shade, and those sorts of things. So in my experience, I'm biased. I think the focus group and volunteer groups approach tends to work better if you're talking mostly with staff.
Yeah.
And that tends to be when you're working on these projects, the nitty gritty, and staff is trying to create a space that people would want to use. So that's
And then
where
if
I would.
staff had a thing to bring, they could bring it to the board.
Well,
in-
they could, yeah, exactly. They
I'd be
bring it
happy
to the
to do
board
that.
and then those focus group members, they get to speak and they're like, hey, I'm a volunteer on your pickle committee or your pickle club or whatever you want to call it. And so they still get to speak in public. They're just not bound by those public meeting laws.
Yeah,
But we also have to make sure we don't create a committee and just call it something else,
Right.
right.
right? And that is when the board has said, go forth and do these specific things. But this group really isn't a place where you get to claim your first victory, because we're under construction. And after that will be, you know, the ribbon cutting for the new facility. And then the victory after that is gonna be when you get in construction for phase 2.
Okay.
And what I would really suggest, I think we all know each other well enough and have met, you know, quite, I guess, a lot over the last 4 years, is that I would be happy to host something like this, but just on a volunteer basis, so that we could all talk freely. It wouldn't have to be over there, it could be over there. And then we could talk in between these meetings, we can email each other. I'd be happy to do that for you guys.
And
So-
to be clear, the board did not dissolve this committee.
Yeah.
We wanna talk about this so that you can figure out the best path forward. And then tonight's discussion can inform, well, is there a different frequency or shape or what you all want? I will say from staff, I am selfishly, I want my staff to have to come to meetings less. That's what
Totally
I
makes
want.
sense.
Yeah.
Especially right now, because it seems like you guys have accomplished a lot for now. And there doesn't seem like there's a ton to be done in the next 6 months, 8 months.
Just in
Can
a
I-
different,
We've come a long way.
we're in a different phase.
Yeah.
That initial
Yeah.
Yeah.
thing has been long and tedious.
So
Successful.
Lance, what are your thoughts? Where would you like this committee to go based on all this
To me,
information?
it sounds like it's a focus group. Because where we're at right now is only giving some information on a few things coming up in the next future with color contrast and
Benches.
just us for knowledge for your staff and for you guys to pick our brains on, like, because we do want this facility to be, because the people building it, are they people who've done a lot of pickleball courts? Are they just people who are contracting and doing that? We all have a lot of information from a lot of different places, so it does sound like our information is still useful, but to me, it doesn't sound like we are in the need of having a pickleball committee, advisory committee. It sounds like where the phase we're at would be more focus group.
If we-
Okay, Lori, what are your thoughts?
I think so too. I think the only concern would be if the phase 2 included a significant financial thing that we did legally or whatever need a committee, that we could revisit it at some point as needed. But
I would point out, you guys have a fairly supportive board member
Yes, I know.
that's related to the budget.
So
And I
like-
don't think pickleball's gonna
like
fall
Clay,
off his radar.
Yeah, and I wanna make sure we all get to talk. So Bob, what are your thoughts?
Well, I guess my question is, can we be turned into the initial core focus group?
I mean, that
Just
depends on how you'll want to do it.
Yeah, no, but I think it makes a lot of sense to have a less formal input, but I'd like to see, my concern is losing the regular meetings and the regular information. We could have, even, at noon or during the daytime, with a focus group that people could attend, and that would make it a bit easier on a lot of people, some of us, and also the staff.
And are all you guys on the pickleball, or you're in the pickleball club, right? All
in the
four?
club, but not on the board.
Yeah, in the club. We're
Because
all
I
club
think-
members.
I think that would also be nice to include some, people from the pickleball club that want to talk about that freely. We've never really done that before. It'd be nice to add them, right?
Yeah.
And the focus groups allows us to do that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Cheryl?
If you bring cookies.
Hey, Cheryl, can you speak to us?
Cheryl, you look like you're muted.
Oh, yep.
Yep, muted again. Oh,
There, okay.
Oh,
try it one more time.
There we go.
There you
You're
go.
back.
It's a two-step verification. Yeah, I think, I like the idea of a focus group, but I also would like us to get, and I totally agree that we were, for what we're doing now, we do not need a meeting every month. But I don't know if there's a way to do a hybrid where we have this focus group, and then when we have some information that we want to share, that we meet as a committee. I don't know if that's even possible.
Cheryl, can I ask a question about that?
Yes,
What
you
would-
can.
In the way that you picture it with like a focus group versus coming back to the committee, what would the difference between convening the two be for you?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I guess maybe I don't know exactly what the focus group does. Do we have, not that we, I mean, you know, so if we meet as a focus group and we come up with some ideas, at that point, does it go to the board and the focus group thinks we should do whatever? We
Sure.
need benches here and there.
It could. So
Okay.
especially if the group, I mean, not that making a name for yourself is the big deal, but if you have a group and you kind of establish an identity and keep some frequency in that staff can know who are we talking about, and then the group decides as a group, hey, staff, can you take this to the board, please, at their next board meeting, then we can do that.
Yeah,
But that's not that different than what the CACs do.
yeah.
So
Okay,
Nick,
okay.
as a past advisory committee member and now as a board member,
Yeah.
you have a bigger lens on this than I think all of us do.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
I think the most effective and efficient thing for everyone to do would be to go to a more focus group model. Kind of one thing I'm hearing also, and this might be me reading between the lines, but the worry of dissolving this committee is there might be some concern that this project will get off of the board's radar. You know, this does give us an opportunity and a time at every board meeting for the pickleball committee to go speak to the board and let them know they're here. And I want to say that, as Clay said, you have a board member who is very supportive of pickleball, so it will not go off the radar. But then also, as a member of our public, if you feel that the project isn't moving along in the way it should, or the colors aren't going to be good, you can always come and comment, do public comment at the board meeting and voice opinion. So that I want to just make sure that if this committee does get dissolved or changed in a way, it's not gonna, the pickleball community won't lose its voice by any means. So I want to make that clear. The other thing, what I heard when we talked about, it seems like there's two main goals that the group wants to make sure is accomplished, and that means have a say when phase 2, which would be a cover, begins. And then the more immediate one is discuss the details and locations and sort of logistics of the amenities, colors, things like that. And I think that sort of thing could very well easily be accomplished in a focus group of, you know, whether it's staff or the board, or comes forward with a list of questions of, hey, what do you think of this, and this? You know, that could be accomplished by a focus group in in one meeting, essentially, or at least everyone can give their thoughts and opinions on that. So that's kind of where I stand. And in reality, you know, we think, so the other thing, phase 2, we all want to see a cover get put on the court, but when those conversations will start, my guess is our terms will be up. To be totally honest. So if in fact that the board does want to have an advisory committee for that, we will have to make an announcement, and everyone would be having to reapply for that anyways,
Okay.
is my thought.
So,
I mean, and bottom line too is it gives you more freedom to have a focus group. And I know that Nick and myself, we will always have a place for you guys here. I'd be happy to attend, love to attend. It's not, I don't see it as losing anything. It's just gaining, because we're gonna have better conversations,
And more flexibility.
freer conversations.
so would somebody like to make a motion based on the information that we have gathered? We need to do a motion, and
I'd like to make a motion that we move to a focus group setting.
Do we have to specify that we're dissolving the committee?
That would be helpful for staff, just to make sure we don't misinterpret that. And you can bundle that together and say, you're gonna make a motion to dissolve the CAC, but create a focus group of volunteers.
I'd like to make a motion that we dissolve our pickleball advisory committee meeting or group and move to a more of a focus group.
Hold on.
Okay.
Sorry,
We
I'm trying
gotta
to
make
get.
sure she
try-
gets this.
Teacher and you, that's the teacher and you, right? Okay, dissolve a pickleball
dissolve-
committee.
I make a motion that we
Committee.
dissolve the pickleball advisory committee meeting or
Okay.
group.
Okay,
Meeting group,
Committee.
Yeah,
committee,
the CAC.
and change it to a focus group, pickleball focus group.
okay.
Okay, with that, do we have a second?
I second.
Do we have discussion?
Linda, I didn't hear a lot of your opinion on what you wanted.
Oh, this is exactly what I would like to. So I do not disagree. Any more discussion on that?
I think as we move forward, I think it is, I mean, personally, I do think it's important that we still stay connected with what is happening, what's gonna be coming, this spring when things are getting done. That we, personally, I think it's important that we somehow, I don't know how this works, but to review, like, this is where these gates are going. This is where because for the most part, I remember a lot of those conversations when we met with the architect, but to see that stuff, I've been on a building committee at the elementary school, and things can change. And if they change and they're not right, like, we have a staff room that doesn't fit our staff. There's some things that we need to make sure we're looking at before they're permanently put in place.
Yeah, and along those lines, I think going away sometime in the next couple weeks to actually get a focus group meeting on the calendar for, based on where the construction schedule is for late January or February maybe, to review some of those details as well as talk about some of these amenities and, all this group
Colors.
can be there, those sorts of things. This group can be there, and then with that focus group model, anyone can also come, and it'll be posted on the website, I believe. I don't know
Yeah,
how
invite
that
the
works, but-
pickleball club.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I think that, but I don't want it to slip to the wayside. I think that is a meeting that needs to be scheduled, and
So, a
We can always
question
do a focus
regarding
group
that,
kickoff.
yeah.
who schedules that?
I can.
Well, the first one, people in this room, I would think.
Okay.
And then figure out, I mean, if the first version of a focus group is doing kickoff meeting, be like, all right, we untied our hands, what do we want us to do? And it could be that we make space available at a CPRD facility, or that your focus group is, coffee following pickle, I mean, I guess not a Jake with, it's under construction, that's not gonna work. But something that works for the group, whatever that's gonna be, because it can be flexible, but giving it some structure so that people reliably know when to show up. But you have the ability to be more flexible, include more voices that didn't get appointed, but also make it what you want it to be. So so I would use that, embrace that flexibility.
So public meeting, we still have a motion on the table. I see us potentially doing another motion based on and I can do that motion. But do we have any more discussion? Read the motion one more time. Lori?
Oh, sorry. Okay. Oh gosh, now I can't read it. Where did I put it?
Motion to dissolve.
Okay, dissolve a pickleball committee meeting, but it should be
Just the pickleball,
Committee.
just the committee.
group. Change to a pickleball focus group.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So I would like to make a motion. I don't even know if it needs to be a motion, but I think that we need to say who wants to be the wrangler for the focus group.
Did I say Wrangler?
That'd be a good way of starting your officers. We have the
Yeah.
wrangler,
Who is the Wrangler?
the,
We have a herdsman.
Yeah, herding cats.
So moving forward, it's not a motion yet,
Okay.
so don't put it, don't waste your energy.
Okay.
So now what do we do, Clay?
Well, now you have the freedom to do whatever you want. I would
Okay.
say, since we're still in here, so what staff will do is advise the board that you guys have passed a motion to dissolve the CAC but reform as a focus group of some sort.
Okay.
So one of the things that we could think about is, what do we want that to look like? We can communicate that to the board too,
Okay.
and let them know that this is gonna be staff working with you all, having meetings, and basically, depending on what everyone wants, that could still happen somewhere at a CPRD place. So if people wanted to meet in the boardroom, if they wanted to meet elsewhere, we could host those meetings. If staff is gonna be in attendance, we can start using the Camellia Room, which is that one in the back. Although that's a little torn up right now, because our auditors were back there with a bunch of binders for 3 days and just war roomed it.
The Falcon Crest room over
Falcon
there,
Crest Room
that's
is
perfect.
pretty large, and so that's a great one. We have whole football teams and stuff go in there. So if you think there's gonna be a good turnout, we can do those, but let staff help you. Just don't make us regret it by making them so frequent that we can't keep up with it. And I would say the other part is making sure that you always have the next meeting figured out.
Yeah.
Depending on, and it could be 2 months from them, it could be 1 month, it could be 2 weeks. You guys now have that flexibility to make it whenever it makes sense.
Okay, so let's do this. So, Cheryl, we need you to chime in on this, so get ready.
Okay.
Okay, oh, she's,
I didn't unmute. I didn't.
okay.
Unmute.
Cheryl, not that we're pointing fingers at you, but how do you see this? Okay, so we are going to move forward as a focus group. Cheryl, you've kind of been a
Yes.
ringleader. You're also a pickleball board member for the club. How do you see this going?
Well, my term with the club is over in the end of December.
Oh, that's good to know.
So,
Are you rerunning?
no.
Okay,
Unless I can convince her.
Okay.
That's not final yet.
okay.
Well, yeah, there is that.
But,
I can still bring cookies.
okay, so.
All right, okay.
Okay, first off, so there's 5 of us here. What do you guys think? When do you want our first meeting to be as a focus group? Because that's where we're going.
Right. Well, if Clay is saying that there's potential of work being done January, February, if weather, I mean, I've never seen weather good enough for work in those months, but.
I know, it's gonna be nibbling around the edges, right? So it's gonna be getting that stormwater facility in and doing the fences.
Oh, okay.
Because the big stuff is that you have to finish putting the surfaces on the courts, and
Right.
that's what they are.
Yeah, okay, so those
But
things,
it
but,
doesn't hurt, but yeah, that's what we're gonna try and work on while we can.
So what would happen, you guys, if we met before spring break, so mid-March?
is that too late?
I'd
For
say
any-
February.
No,
I would say, I would think February,
Late January, early February?
late January, early February. Yeah.
okay,
And that could just be us getting together, brainstorming, moving forward to set for a meeting more formal
Right,
in March.
yeah.
Because, yeah, when do we decide some of those amenity questions? We'll need to know, like, if by chance there's some crazy great weather that makes those things progress sooner, then we might need to be flexible and meet sooner.
Yep.
This is, I know, I'm not a big proponent of a lot of meetings, but it might not be a bad idea for us to meet between now and January, just to kind of get ducks in a row as to what we're gonna look at and where we're gonna move, and then meet again after the first of the year.
Just difficult with holidays, in my opinion.
yeah.
And
Okay.
I think, Cheryl, too, that now that this is a focus group, that sort of thing could be done via email. You know, I can
Yeah.
see an email chain of
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
everybody
Okay,
send
there is
out,
that.
everybody send out the list of things, your top topics you want them. talk about. Yeah, yeah, essentially.
Cool, yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, yeah, okay. So,
But back to Linda's point and concern of like, who's going to be the wrangler?
Well, I don't mind being the wrangler until we get going. I am skiing most of the winter, and so my commitment to Newberg is I'm always in town the second week of every month.
Nick,
Well,
with you being on the board, are you completely off the focus group? Or are you still able to be a part and,
No, I think I can show up and give my opinion and.
because it's great, I mean, it's a valid opinion that needs to, in my opinion,
Yeah.
needs to be
Yeah.
in
And-
place.
And it's a focus group that's kind of under the umbrella of CPRD.
Yep, I just
And we
wanted-
just want to make sure that anybody that wants to go could go to it. But it may be that there's a list of people that we always make sure they email because they've said they want to get it. And there may be a core group and then some people that show up occasionally.
I just wanted to make sure he was okay coming and not being on the board that he couldn't come.
Right, yeah, that's important.
No, that's a good question, and no, it doesn't eliminate him, because he's still a person.
Yeah, I get that, I just
Yeah.
wanted to,
Yeah.
just didn't know if it was a conflict of interest, and I wanted, before we got any further.
You just can't ride there with Jim and Matt and Jason.
oh, that's true. Then there's that.
So Linda, you're saying like the second week of January is the,
Yeah, so if we met Monday, January 12th, as a.
which is, are you talking second full week? Cause,
Well, no, I'll give you the date that I know that I'll be in, and it's all
Okay.
based off of another board meeting I have. If we could meet on Monday, January 12th.
I'm
at-
out of town that particular day. I am back, later in the week.
can we
Okay,
do Thursday?
I'd be okay with Thursday.
okay. Let's do Thursday, January 15th.
6?
No, it's January 15th, right, guys?
Yep,
Okay, January 15th. What time works for you guys? 6 o'clock is weird. But that's okay. Smack dab in the middle of dinner, so I don't care.
that's right here.
Right, okay. So where do you guys want to meet? 6 o'clock?
If you want to meet at CPRD, I can reserve the room for you. This one or the Falcon Crest room.
Can we just say that we'll meet at 6 PM and then figure out the date later? So,
The date, no. we
I mean
figured out.
that the place
Yeah.
later.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, please put January 15th, and can you include it? Can she include that in the minutes?
Yeah,
Okay,
fine. The focus group plans to have its first meeting January 15th at 6, location TV.
okay.
Sounds good.
Great. Okay. Let's go back to the agenda. Do we have any other new business?
No, I think the big thing that we would have had to do is appoint a chairperson and secretary, and so I think that makes
Safe. Safe.
Right. Save some tasks.
Yeah, safe. Okay, open comment period. Hearing none, I move that we
Yep.
adjourn. What?
One actual
Oh, sorry, Nick.
comment or new business. Just a thought. If you guys wanted, I do think it could be beneficial to come to the next board meeting and basically announce that you're dissolving as a advisory committee and moving to a more focus group. A model or a focus group, and just kind of announcing that. And I think it'd be cool to acknowledge the stuff that this committee has accomplished,
Agree.
because it is a lot, and it'd be a nice kind of way to sunset the whole thing.
Yeah.
When is the next board meeting?
December 4th,
Okay,
and
so there's not one in November.
that's correct.
Okay.
And we'll make this an action item for the board, so that it's clear to
Okay.
them on what your motion was, and they can, because they're the ones that have the power to dissolve it.
Okay, so December 4th at what time, Nick?
6 p.m.
Here.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't know if,
I will send out an email to everybody with these dates confirming it.
Okay.
And I would encourage all of us to be there.
I think that'd be great.
Cheryl, does that date work for you? Not that we change it, but are you,
No, I will make it, I will make it work. I will make it work.
I will do the same.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? I need a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second? Somebody?
I second it. I'm trying to get it on my calendar
Yeah, me
still.
too.
Any more discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay.